The playground buzzed with the laughter of children, a chaotic symphony of joy that masked the brewing tension near the swing set. 8-year-old Emily, with her braided pigtails and a heart full of courage, stood face to face with Kevin, the schoolyard's notorious bully. Her little brother Timmy clung to her arm, his tear-streaked face buried in her sleeve. The treasured book he loved so dearly now lay crumpled and muddy at Kevin's feet. Emily's hands clenched into fists as she stepped forward, her small frame trembling but unyielding. Kevin sneered, towering over her like a storm cloud, his voice dripping with mockery. "What are you gonna do about it, shrimp?" He taunted, kicking the book further into the dirt. The other children had formed a loose circle, their chatter hushed in anticipation. Emily could feel their eyes on her, but she didn't care. Her parents had always taught her to stand up for what was right, no matter how hard it seemed. With a deep breath, she lifted her chin. "You don't scare me," she said firmly, her voice cutting through the air like a blade. The entire playground froze, and in that moment, Emily made a choice that would change everything. Emily and Timmy were more than just siblings, they were best friends. Ever since Timmy was diagnosed with dyslexia, Emily had taken it upon herself to be his biggest supporter. While other kids his age excelled in reading and writing, Timmy struggled to even recognize simple words. The frustration and embarrassment often left him feeling isolated, but Emily was always there to lift his spirits. Their parents, hard-working and compassionate, emphasized the importance of family. "We stick together," their mom often said. "No matter what, we protect each other." These words resonated deeply with Emily, who took her role as Timmy's protector seriously. Timmy's love for books was something special, despite his struggles. He adored the stories Emily read to him every night. One book in particular became his favorite, a tale about a brave knight who faced impossible odds to protect the weak. Timmy carried the book everywhere, finding solace in its pages. To him, it was more than just a story. It was a symbol of hope and courage. School, however, was a different world. Kevin, a fifth grader notorious for his mean streak, had singled Timmy out as an easy target. Whether it was snide remarks, stolen lunchboxes, or cruel pranks, Kevin's bullying was relentless. Emily often intervened, but Kevin always managed to find new ways to torment her brother. That morning had been no different. Emily had been helping her teacher clean the classroom when she noticed Timmy's absence. When she found him in the playground, he was crying, his cherished book clutched in Kevin's hand. Emily's protective instincts flared like wildfire. She didn't think twice before marching across the playground to confront the bully. Kevin loomed over Emily, his shadow casting a menacing figure across the sunlit playground. Around them, the other children whispered among themselves, their eyes wide with curiosity and fear. "Give it back." "Kevin," Emily demanded, her voice quivering, but resolute. Kevin chuckled, his laughter as cold as the winter wind. "Make me," he said, tossing the book into the air before letting it fall back into the mud with a wet splat. Timmy let out a small whimper, but Emily's glare remained fixed on Kevin. She remembered the countless times her father told her, "Bravery isn't the absence of fear, Emily. It's doing what's right, even when you're scared." Taking a step closer, she crossed her arms. "What's the matter, Kevin? Afraid to pick on someone your own size?" The crowd gasped, their eyes darting between Emily and Kevin. His smirk faded, replaced by a scowl. "You've got a big mouth for such a little kid," he spat. Shoving Emily's shoulder, she stumbled but caught herself, refusing to back down. Before Kevin could do anything more, a stern voice rang out. "What is going on here?" Mrs. Parker, the school's strictest teacher, strode toward the commotion. The crowd scattered like leaves in the wind, and Kevin's bravado crumbled. "He took my brother's book and ruined it," Emily explained, her voice steady despite the tears welling in her eyes. Mrs. Parker's gaze hardened as she turned to Kevin. "My office, now." Kevin glared at Emily one last time before storming off. Emily bent down, picking up the muddy book and handing it to Timmy. "It's okay," she whispered, pulling him into a hug. "We'll clean it up, I promise." That evening, Emily recounted the day's events to her parents. Her father's face darkened as she spoke, but her mother's eyes shone with pride. "You were so brave, Emily." her mom said, pulling her into a tight hug. But next time, make sure to involve a teacher sooner. The next morning, Emily walked Timmy to school, her heart heavy with anticipation. She wasn't sure what to expect from Kevin after yesterday. Would he retaliate, ignore her? As they reached the playground, her questions were answered. Kevin was waiting for them, but he wasn't alone. Standing beside him was a tall man with a stern expression. Kevin's father? Kevin has something to say, the man announced, his voice firm. Kevin's eyes were fixed on the ground. I'm sorry, he mumbled. Emily blinked, unsure if she'd heard him correctly. What? Kevin sighed, his cheeks flushing red. I said I'm sorry for taking your book and for being mean to you. Kevin's father placed a hand on his son's shoulder. We had a long talk last night. What you did was wrong, Kevin, and it's going to stop now. Timmy clutched Emily's hand tightly, his eyes wide with surprise. Kevin looked up briefly, his gaze meeting Emily's. For the first time, she saw something other than malice in his eyes. Shame. Later that day, Emily overheard the teachers discussing the incident. Kevin's father had been contacted by the school after Mrs. Parker's report. A retired military officer, he had zero tolerance for bullying and had taken immediate action. Kevin's behavior began to change after that, though he remained quiet and withdrawn for a while. The teasing stopped. Slowly but surely, he started to mend the damage he'd caused. 2 weeks later, Emily noticed Kevin sitting alone during recess. The other kids had distanced themselves from him, his reputation as the school bully tarnished. For a moment, she felt a pang of pity. No one deserved to feel isolated, not even Kevin. Summoning her courage, Emily approached him. Hey, she sobbed, sitting down beside him. Kevin glanced at her, his expression wary. What do you want? Nothing, Emily replied. Just thought you could use some company. Kevin frowned, his fingers fiddling with a loose thread on his shirt. Why are you being nice to me? After everything I did? Emily shrugged. Everyone makes mistakes. What matters is that you're trying to do better. Kevin's shoulders relaxed, and for the first time he smiled faintly. Thanks, he said softly. From that day on, Kevin's transformation continued. He even began helping Timmy during reading sessions, offering encouragement instead of ridicule. Though they would never be best friends, a mutual respect grew between him and Emily. The incident sparked a ripple effect across the school. Teachers became more vigilant, and students were encouraged to speak up against bullying. Emily's courage had not only changed Kevin, but had also inspired others to stand up for what was right. At home, Emily and Timmy continued their nightly reading sessions. Timmy's favorite book, now clean but slightly wrinkled, held even more significance. It wasn't just a story about bravery anymore. It was a reminder of Emily's unwavering love and the strength of standing up for someone you care about. You're my hero, Timmy whispered one night, hugging her tightly. Emily smiled, her heart swelling with pride. No, Timmy, you're the brave one. You told Mrs. Parker what happened. That took real courage. As the stars twinkled outside their bedroom window, Emily realized that bravery wasn't about being fearless. It was about choosing kindness and justice, even when it was hard. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe to Echo Talis for more inspiring stories like this one. Remember, even the smallest acts of courage can create a ripple of change. Let's make the world a kinder place, one story at a time. Together, we can stand up for what's right and inspire others to do the same.